Radiant team's turn to ban.
Hello.
Seconds remaining.
Chào mừng các bạn đã quay trở lại với Kingdom Studio. Sau đây là trận đấu ở nhánh thua của vòng bảng của đồng loại khu vực C của Execration đấu với WarriorsGaming. Còn Tức đã có chiến thắng 2-0, không thể tuyệt vời hơn trước WarriorsGaming. Và đây là nếu mà team nào thua trong trận đấu này sẽ phải chia tay với The International. Trận đấu khá là quan trọng và đội nào thắng sẽ tiếp tục gặp lại Fnatic. Sẽ tiếp tục gặp Fnatic trong loạt trận bottom quyết định.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. Radiant team's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Slaughter.
Radiant team's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Timber saw.
Dire team's turn to pick. Radiant team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Looks like someone disconnected. Dire team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Disruptor.
Dire team's turn to pick.
Ok. Vậy sao mình sẽ trở lại sau những giây phút mà đăng bài. Điểm qua lượt ban bit của hai team ở thời điểm hiện tại thì Execration ban đi Elder Titan, Void, Invoker, Enchantress, Bit Hunter, VS cũng như Spirit. Về phía WarriorsGaming đó là ban đi Doom, Tetraplay, Tetrofet cũng như là Phoenix. Đã quyết định bit cho mình đó là Slada, Timbersaw và Disruptor. Sẽ là lượt bit thứ tư cho WarriorsGaming. WarriorsGaming có hai lượt bit khá là tốt. Timbersaw và Disruptor có thể cover tốt cho nhau, vì Timbersaw rất cần những hero có khả năng giữ chân cao như Disruptor. Ngược lại thì với Spirit có thể với cái silent của mình có thể gây khó chịu ít nhiều cho cái con Timber này. Tiếp tục là Lion được bức. Giờ đây VS lẫn Spirit sẽ khá là cẩn thận, phải rất cẩn thận nếu muốn giữ được mạng trong combat. Với những cái nút đam khủng từ Timbersaw, Lion và Slada nữa. Tai thì đã khỏi phải bàn rồi. Một hero khá là trâu. Lee cũng như là có Rabbit. Lượt bit thứ tư cho Execration.
Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining.
Mình sẽ để reteam game đấu này và sẽ nghỉ ngơi một chút, đi trưa một chút để cover game đấu tiếp theo. Ok, mình sẽ để LD.
I don't know how much I like the idea of anti-mage against the lack of disable and the Medusa, but I also don't know how well it fits the other 4 heroes of WG Unity. Yeah, you've got this support duo that can protect an AM, but you're looking to hit this slider blink timing and then fight. Timbersaw is already a hero that is good at fighting but needs a setup or needs to kind of farm a lot as well, so I think you maybe get too greedy with an anti-mage pick. It depends a bit on what Execration do. If you think if their last pick here, whatever core they go for, is something that gives you space to run an anti-mage, then you definitely can get away with it.
So Execration do ban out the Alchemist, which was a very different route, but certainly they have some great eggs vehicles, and you know we've seen the Alch picks work a decent amount in this tournament. Yeah. They've won their last 2 matches on the hero, both of those versus White Prize.
Lifesteal is a good pick. It's when Timbersaw gets super tanky, you've always got the Lifesteal to kind of shred away some of his HP. You can go that kind of glass cannon burst damage build and actually be able to bring him down. And it also not a great roach taking here, but it's physical damage to benefit from the bench.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm curious to see how this will work and what WG kind of think about this, because I think the anti-mage is...
It feels a little too slow.
Yeah, I think it's off the table with
like
this
late game, if they got there, he would be almost unstoppable in my mind versus this draft, but getting there is going to be tough with the Lifestealer. And they go for something more up-tempo. They're going to grab a TA. So I guess a potential safe lane Slardar with an off lane.
They do the safe lane Timbersaw normally. Okay. Well, I've seen safe lane in mid for WG, but Arjit plays a scary Timbersaw. I think it was either one of the games with you or with Winter Cast yesterday where we saw him just
completely go
off with this hero. Yeah.
So whose draft do you like better, guys? Game 1. Teams have picked up their heroes.
I don't think they have the best answers to deal with this. Timbersaw's going to be safe lane, so he's going to get his farm, he's going to take off, and I don't think they've got the best ways of dealing with Timbersaw. Or
no reliable, like, instant disables. They have 1 silence to deal with him, but it's not the easiest one to hit compared to like a Skywrath, for example.
And their team fight's very centered around the Tidehunter, and there's Static Storm, so you can catch the Tidehunter in the Static Storm, and then you've got plenty of burst damage. WG, they do not like burst damage. Lion Finger, Timbersaw burst damage, TA with a Meld Strike Desolator, there is more than ample burst damage coming out from their side.
So we're going to see the good old smoke TP to the mid lane. Seems to be the go-to play now ever since Vanilla. Both teams getting their deep wards down, both in similar locations, mirroring each other in the opposite jungle, and then Zaki will move even deeper and gets a nice hill ward out.
2 jungle wards is more than you'd even normally see.
I guess mainly just for the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, Earth Spirit loves to camp on this hill right where we're seeing Execration now. This is a very common spot to be. It's a good hill to be to scout the smoke rotations that come in, because the Radiant team will often kind of loop around and go past, but hey, Sentry Ward is there.
Who are they giving it to? Nanda.
Do so.
Okay. I think they're like, oh, alright, everyone relax. Who do we want to give this to? Let's give it to Deuce.
Woo. I like how they think about it.
It's just funny how they all like panicked, stopped, and were like faking their attacks.
Probably best on your mid hero. The fast Aquila makes a big difference for your mid lane.
Especially against the TA. Medusa with kind of so-so base damage.
Yeah, you go up to
the TA with about 10 more even at this level.
Yeah, getting up to the plus 10 damage just from the raw damage, and then the Agi from the Aquila is a big boost to your last hitting capabilities. But I like what Wen's doing up top. He's in a position where he can draw the aggro from the wave, so he can try and guarantee a level 2, because he's not gone for Iron Talon. It's always a risky move not having an Iron Talon in lane, and there is potential just to send Earth Spirit up there and kind of tri-lane him.
Yeah, and if they just shut him down for the first couple levels until Lifestealer gets boots and, you know, works towards the phase boots, Wen's not going to be able to lane at all. So, at that point, I'll have to wait until he just passively gets the gold for an Iron Talon, do some side pulls maybe.
Oh, Tim's. I've seen this guy go for these courier snipes a few times.
Wen is getting the pull off here, top.
He sees the courier, but won't go for it on the way back. He actually missed it twice in a row last time I saw him go for it,
but they are going to instead find Wen here. Has skilled up the crush, going to use it now, but they can chase this a bit. No mana for the bench stun for about 5 more. Wen's going to salve up. Clarity comes out from Chemo. And Wen will get the creeps back to his tower, so an early level 2 in the cards for him.
Trades a salve for level 2, which is probably a good trade end of the day, and if he gets some CS at the tower, that's Iron Talon money, so he can always go back and pick that one up.
I mean, whose offlane decisions do you like more here? RR just starting straight Iron Talon in the jungle is the tide, or the Slardar laning?
Probably, I think they both executed their choices well. Like, I think there's justification for Slardar to have gone Iron Talon instead of what he's done, but he's traded a salve and 2 tangos to get level 2. He's still up here. He's not going to slow down the Lifestealer farm, I don't imagine, but he's going to at least keep the supports busy, or keep the support bench busy. So it's not a Venge and an Earth Spirit roaming, it's just an Earth Spirit off the map. But I think all in all we'll see Tide obviously outfarm the Slardar, but there's some kind of trade-off happening.
Well, Tim's is camping out the mid lane for now. No Radiant Vision of his hero, as they did get that D ward up this cliff. Had that ward been left band-aided, feels like the Earth Spirit would not be able to do anything really. But can at least threaten mid. Still not the best killing combo in a TA though, guys.
Yeah, so I think the play here for WG is you stack your jungle massively, you spam pulls a lot. We're going to see Afu pull the side camp. You've got the other support line, Zaki stacking camps nearby mid. So you just need to be, when you've got no offlane hero to zone out, and you're not really a hero that can gank mid, at least not till you get like a few more levels and go for a smoke. Stack your jungle, be efficient.
Big roll into the top lane, and now Abed going with the open wounds, but it's right as the crush is coming out, so they need the body blocks here. Tim's is on point with that. The sprint activated when manages to slither by. Will escape. So a good attempt there on the gank, but Abed no points in the rage just yet, and getting stunned right as the open wounds came off really prevented them from grabbing that kill.
Yeah, interesting side of this boots kind of help save his life there, but it does limit him to staying in this lane. He can't just go back, heal up, and then rotate to jungle because no Iron Talon. So
yeah, probably not expecting the Earth Spirit to come there at this stage. If Earth Spirit stayed top, he wouldn't really be able to lane, but it does seem Tim's is going to rotate bottom. He'll be grabbing the experience there. So Execration playing a little bit greedier as far as the laning setup goes. And so far, it is still a WG Unity advantage, all things considered. So
yeah, they're getting more out of the full camps. You can see now, like, Line and Disruptor have done 2 separate pulls, pulling the side camp while they pulled the small camp, and now they're going to get the third camp pulled in. They're using all 3 neutral camps here to be ultra efficient and to even get some CS here and there. This is like your award fund, your Arcane Boots fund.
Hashtag efficiency.
Yeah, they've got a good plan as far as keeping their supports busy, which doesn't involve getting aggressive, at least not for now.
So a relatively slow start here for both teams, and well, taking a quick look at the last bits, we see more or less an even spread, with the X factor just being Tidehunter getting more out of the jungle, but the WG Unity support's getting more out of the woods. So overall, pretty even. I guess looking forward towards the end of the laning stage, the mid game gods. Who are the key heroes that you have your eyes on, and who are you expecting to kind of control the flow?
For Execration, it becomes the Lifestealer once he hits that armlet and can infest in the Earth Spirit and kind of roam around. You'll see these heroes kind of partnering up a bit to look for kills. For the side of WG, it's going to be the Lion and Slardar. You get Finger of Death on Lion. Kill on Tim's, that's first blood.
Nice glimpse there by Afu. Got the vision from the Thunderstrike, had the level 2 glimpse. And hey, that's where the levels matter. If he's level 2 at this stage, I don't think they have the range for that glimpse.
A level 4 Disruptor against a level 1 Earth Spirit. And even Lion is not like Lion's that under level. Lion's level 3 as well, so the fact it's a passive early game and you're getting support levels, and you have influential support heroes, Lion's Finger, one of those big upgrades as far as being able to find pickoffs anywhere, and partnering up with the Slardar, who's doing very well in the offlane. So looks like a very WG Unity favored early game, and the fact that Execration don't have a clear like, oh, they'll get this item or this level and be able to start making plays happen is even more worrying for them.
Wen does hit level 4 now, and has gone back for the Quelling Blade, so likely we will see his Iron Talon as the game moves along, but he gets open wounds here. Rage is ready as the crush comes out. This could be trouble for Wen with the Wave of Terror. One more auto attack is all that Abed will need, and he just barely gets it. So make it 1-1. So you see Nana beginning to farm Ancients here. Not even gonna have any stacks to work with, just straight Ancient jungling with nobody holding mid lane for now.
Yeah, just a bit worried about the Earth Spirit pulling in, but Earth Spirit Medusa, not the scariest duo by any means.
Yeah, I really don't feel like they have the best kill potential on the TA until they get magnetized.
Yeah, so he comes back mid. is out-leveling the Medusa. And
You mentioned Tim's and his prowess in Earth Spirit, but Gods, you got to be worried when he's level 2 at 6 minutes, hasn't found kills. He's done a tiny bit of ancient stacking, but it doesn't feel like he's had enough of an impact.
yeah, he hasn't pressured the Slider out of the lane. He hasn't done a whole lot to help mid, so no, it has not been a great game for him. It is, I think, a reason that the hero wasn't banned is because WG Uni had great tanky heroes to not worry about, and even their last pick TA was very much geared towards picking a mid that isn't going to be pressured by an Earth Spirit, so it's a hard game.
Is there anything else he could be doing? He's tried to kind of roll mid, hasn't gone for anything, went for the courier snipe, didn't get it. Lane bottom when the lane was pushing and the tide's in the jungle, that didn't really get him much experience. Like, what should he be doing?
We saw DJ on his Earth Spirit game was kind of a similar story. He tried to do just this, get XP in the off lane, but then you get punished like this because Timbersaw, level 6.5 with a Disruptor, has pretty good kill potential. And
they can chase him too. The Rolling Boulder is not a get out of jail free card against that lane. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, he could have come to this off lane earlier perhaps and tried to tuck himself in some trees so he was hidden to leech XP. Alternatively, it's the top lane where he can be more useful. You can fully zone out Slider.
Speaking of which, gets the cross off here, but they do have a Ravage ready to go, and it's going to pop. When still healthy though, and chasing after the Watermelon are on the retreat. They will get the Sparta kill, but more reinforcements arriving. Now Zaki in position. They're not quite able to bring down the Lifestealer here. The Chakram comes out again. They stun Abed. The last hit going to the tower shot, and Teemo does make it out. But it ends up being a 1-for-1. Slardar for a Lifestealer, but with a Ravage expected.
A lot of rotation stuff from WG, and unfortunately for Lifestealer, he had the Infest, but all the creeps right by him were all deniable and low HP, so didn't have a very good escape plan. And will be a WG Unity favored trade, even though they had to invest as many resources as they did.
So they're going to make an adjustment now. They send Wen to the bottom lane. They want to give the Slardar a bit of an easier time securing his levels, his experience in gold, and Ajit will take the off lane here. Has the Arcane Boots, level 7.
3 points in reactive armor.
I think, you know, looking at the draft gods, you said coming in that you were worried about their ability to deal with the Timbersaw if he got farm, and he is getting it. Can they even punish him being here in the off lane? Because it just seems like he's going to get free farm.
And building skill point wise towards making this move towards the off lane, because he has 3 points in reactive armor, which means he's very hard to fight and deal with. And the HP regen and armor you get is going to help a lot against a Lifestealer, who's
especially for Execration. I mean, they don't have any big, like, beefy nukes or, you know, super hard-hitting right clicks. It's more damage over time. As Nana mid lane in a bit of danger here. Does have the meld available though. Chemo still diving him out a bit. Not gonna be able to find the kill though. It just seems like every time that Execration are going for a kill, it's just taking a little bit too long there. They're not getting it, or they're getting turned on.
Yeah, Medusa has to be one of the weaker carries to have against the Timbersaw, just because of this hero not hitting very hard at all, and its constant right-click damage just gives you more and more procs and charges on the reactive armor.
Yeah, they don't have, like, I would say on the flip side, like a spend is a good counterpoint, where when he gets farmed enough, he can hit so hard at the early auto attacks that reactive armor charges stay low, and all of a sudden you've lost half your health with the God Strength. But very different kind of matchup here.
Yeah, so WG Unity will be looking to just continue to kind of farm up some of their early game core items. They're in no rush to be the ones applying pressure until they hit the level 6 timing on Lion and the Slider perhaps Blink Dagger timing. And Slider now with the safe play may actually accelerate towards that, but for now Lion being given the dedicated mid lane just to get that Finger of Death up.
Yeah, bought the Iron Talon recipe, but it's not a spent the gold on it. Top lane, they make their move on Abed. They managed to drop the static sword on Surprise. He does have rage available, he's gonna pop it, jumps to try to creep, gets right back out, and now he's angry. He wants a bit of Ajit, who just quickly chains away. They do have vision here. They scout Nana rotating, and the trap comes out onto Nando. Does not have the Stone Gaze skilled up, and he has spent all his skill points, but still, they don't know that, and diving is a bit dangerous.
Yeah, he unfortunately missed the initial Timber Chain on Lifestealer during the Static Storm, which led to him surviving. If he hits that, it would have been a guaranteed kill, I believe.
It was a close call there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have the damage otherwise.
But Lions now swung through the enemy jungle, level 6. They're not done at this top lane, even with Static Storm down.
Still moving forward. They try to make the move on Ajit, but instead they turn back for Nana. Unfortunately, no Magnetize. It's only a level 3 Earth Spirit, so the damage over time is really lacking. They get the Glyphs off onto Abed, and waiting for him. The Chakram will bring him down. So well executed rotation here. WG Unity are going to go for more. They continue to move on to Nando. That mana shield helping to keep him alive, but the finger gets hooked directly into it, chewing through what remains of his HP and mana, and he will eventually go down. A double kill for Ajit. Healthy on the mana pool. He jumps forward. Traps deployed. Chasing after Chemo. Now the chakram. The rest of the team out of mana. They're giving up, and Ajit, well, another missed chain there. Could have been a third kill if he managed to connect.
Back off. Still the kill on both carries of Execration. Lifestealer and Medusa going down. That's how you want to see your first Finger of Death being used in.
And I love the way he just, like, she has basically full mana at that point. He's like, screw it, I'm just going to throw it anyway because I believe in my team's follow-up.
It's not like, and it's also just like eggs your team on. It's like, go guys, don't give up. Because if you're looking at a team as like, oh, they're probably going to just stop diving this Medusa because it doesn't look like they're killing her. But once you see that finger, it's like, okay, we're going, we're in for this one. Giving that boost in team morale, and Execration didn't really have a good counterpunch option. They're looking to get RR a mech. It looks like he's farming up the ancient stacks. Will be a pretty decent timing on his mech at this rate, but still a problem where he is the most farmed Dire hero, and I say that's a problem just because
we saw yesterday with the Darkseer, I believe it was for White Prize.
Yes.
Where he was the most farmed hero. This is not what you want, guys.
Right. Much rather more farm on Medusa and Lifesteal. You keep the farm where it is on Tide, but you just need Medusa and Lifesteal up to like 5k net worth at least. But those two heroes are both struggling and falling behind by some margin here. Lifestealer is with the 2 deaths especially.
It just seems like Execration hasn't gotten what they needed out of their 2 key tempo controllers, which is RR on the Tide and Tim's on the Earth Spirit. Underleveled, didn't find kills early, has died on top of that, didn't snipe the Courier. And now RR, the first Ravage nets them a 1-for-1, which is a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
Everything going more smoothly here for WG Unity as we see them lead now by over 3,000 gold, nearly 3,500 experience at only 12.5 minutes in.
And when you see this Earth Spirit 10 minutes in the game, he's not level 6 even, that's where you know you can dive towers, be aggressive, because Earth Spirit's not going to want to TP into fights when it's that stage where it's like, okay, I'm super underleveled, I'm just going to play catch up in terms of farm. Trying to bait out the Tide Ravage mid, but not having it.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, Nando having to use that ultimate, but unfortunately, Disruptor arrives and is able to glimpse him from outside the Stone Gaze range. Now Nando in a lot of danger. Low, will he fall? Another trap, the chase continues. They've got a Thunderstrike soon, a long-range kick off the mark from Tim. They needed that one to hit, it's not going to, and Nando will drop again. Meanwhile, from the top side of the map, Abed also in trouble. Not even a finger required there. Zaki hanging onto it. They can look for a bit more slaughter on the chase. They do have a Ravage, but no one really to combo with it. Again, both cores going down for Execration. A lone range creep stands between WG Unity and a big tower dive, but they continue to poke and prod, threatening Chemo. Another win.
Like you say, deja vu with the 2 carries dying, a tower as well at bottom. As bad as it can get in terms of what's happening. Often you'll see like a support hero there getting picked off, and at least you've got carries farming, but this is the exact opposite scenario where WG Unity are finding the carries and the supports just aren't there to save them. Chemo, who's got a swap, Tide, who's meant to be sitting behind them, perhaps ready to counter-initiate with a Ravage and having the mech to heal his buddies, but we're just not seeing it from Execration. It doesn't feel like they're really woken up here in their opening game today.
Well, you mentioned Infest Bombs. They do have one available now. They're going to make the move on the top side of the map. RR has no mana for Ravage, but he pops the stick, has the Arcane Boots as well, so he can use it if required. They're trying to hang on to it. The Boulder Smash comes through, and they will secure a kill on Ajit.
And Chain's done it really well, so he can't suicide, which was the important thing. If you do all that,
I need suicide, so you're not going to move on. Nana, Finger, Static Storm, onto Nando, but they can't bring him down in time. RO rotates him, but he gets next up. They can try to focus him down. He gets the Ravage off just in time to save his own life, but it's not going to save the tower. WG Unity looking for the last hit here. While that was going on, they did kill the Slardar up top. See hands up falling, but they chase forward. They get another glimpse onto Nando, bringing him down. And it looks like the Lady Dusa may die again. See you later, Snake Lady. 8-4 the score. Again, Dusa dying. She now is 0-3. That is unacceptable if you're Execration.
WG Unity is making all the right plays as far as getting the initiations using the glimpse. The Dusa initially survives, as does the Tide, but he has to waste a Ravage just to save his own life. And then they get the follow-up catch. The Psionic Traps also work very well with the Disruptor, giving vision for the glimpse when you're chasing. And
they want a piece of this TA God. Do they have detection here? Is the question. Yes, they do. Sentry gets dropped down. TA gonna try to fight it, but it's a 3-hero dog pile. And Execration do grab another kill. An important one with that. Finally, a clean takedown on the core that doesn't require Ravage or another big ultimate.
Yeah, that was...
They need more of that.
Much needed. Fortunately for bad news for Execration is the Slider Blink Dagger is just about to be online, so that's where WG Unity will probably catch their wind once again. Get a Finger of Death online, get Slider's Blink and start moving around the map, taking the fight to Execration. You don't want to give room for Dusa to farm up, even though she is very poor right now. It doesn't, not necessarily a hero that will quickly change that, but if you're trying to just sit back and idly farm, you are kind of playing into the Medusa's hands in a lot of ways.
Ajit clearing out the neutrals here up to 2,000 gold. What are we going to see out of him? Does he go BOTs now? Does he save for that next big tank item?
Shivers is quite good as a second item. BOTs is not bad, but armor is just really nice against the Lifestealer. That's, if he had like even just a casual plate mail in that last fight at top, it may have saved his life.
Yeah, definitely considering what he wants to do up to this point.
So
hang on to the gold for the time being.
Possible smoke time. Scan is actually scouting out the Ancients a bit. And they smoked themselves, Execration. They're looking for Radiant side.
They do find Ajit. Boulder kick comes down, then they decide to roll in. It seems like Tim's was a bit hesitant about whether to go in or retreat. They're gonna have to swap him out, evacuate the Lifestealer who rages TPs, and this is just completely falling apart. As Execration feed away both supports for nothing. They could have just rolled away, but he rolled in.
And he gets Bloodstone charges out of this on Timbersaw, so he's already starting to pile them up once again. And having a Bloodstone this early on means your downtime is just so small.
And every time we see a Stone Gaze, gods, it's just to run away.
Yeah, same as the Ravages too. The word of mid was purely defensive. It's not a good sign for Execration, who aren't really connecting at all.
I mean, when does it turn around? Infest Bombs aren't doing it.
Oof, they need farm on Medusa, on Lifestealer even. The Echo Saber will help things a little bit, but Medusa ideally needs to get a couple big items before Execration even feel that scary.
Are we just at a point where they can't fight right now? Basically, just they should be dodging?
High Blink is probably when they fight, because then you've got to bet. At this stage, the Lifestealer infesting the Earth Spirit's kind of a bit gimmicky.
It's very
yeah. It works for the first, like when you first hit like level 7, 8, like pre-armor, it's actually okay for killing offlaners because they don't expect that Earth Spirit to roll in. And often like an offlaner like a Slider will be positioned kind of far back and you just catch them out. But we're at that stage where you need to be initiating with a reliable stun like Ravage.
So WG just waltz into the pit as Radiant. With Ravage up, the only spell down is Stone Gaze, cooling down in 15 seconds.
Oh, Venge will help him too.
Oh.
Yeah, more minus.
How thoughtful. A 6v5 on the Roshan. WG will take that. But yeah, I mean, they don't give a hoot, gods. They don't think Execration can take the fight.
Huh?
And I think they're right.
It's minus 27 armor on Roche with the Meld Strike. And
They're smoking though. They will look to take this skirmish around the pit. Chemo throwing in that wave of terror, perhaps momentarily the tape. The Zetso doesn't work though. As the Meld comes out, will he grab the Aegis? Nana gets it, gets the last hit too. Now getting kill Tim for Static Storm. Well placed. RR manages to deploy the Ravage, and now the Stone Gaze coming through. The rest of WG needs to turn and run. Ajit healthy though, can look to initiate here in just a few moments. TA with the Aegis has the blink, fighting out against Stop. It blinks out while the refraction is still active and finds a backliner here, Nando, who's already committed the Stone Gaze. They get focused on the Medusa, may well be so. Dropping off her head, turning back for a bit more, but Tim finally getting a nice ultimate off in this fight. The Magnetize goes to work. Execration forced to chase. They look for Nana here. If they have any more protection, they are lacking in it. But he comes out of Meld. He continues to engage.
wrecking them.
He's killing them all of them, one at a time, but now the raids go for wounds. I don't know if Nana can take the punishment. Jackie doesn't have a stun. He turns on RR tanky, but is he tanky enough? Again, the Infest Bomb blocks. The damage does nothing. Abed, arm with toggling, but one well-timed Meld might be sufficient. No, Abed, good action there in the fight, gets the double auto attack off from the Echo Saber. It is enough for the kill. And they bring him down, but it comes at the cost of RR perhaps for the glimpse. Now a haste for him, snag stolen away from the Tide. He ain't going anywhere. It'll be Watermelon as a little dessert at the Roshan fight, but the Aegis still popped. And overall, a scrappy engagement there from Execration, though they do ultimately end up coming out on the wrong side of it, gods.
Yeah, it's slightly bad. I guess they kill the TA. If that TA ends up team wiping them, it's a disaster. And I think TA and Lion could have played that one better in the end. They went for the Tide when they should have gone for the lifesteal. All they need to kill the lifesteal is just to disable him to prevent the armlet toggle. So a Hex or an Impale onto him would have made all the difference, and then you just kind of ignore the Tide. But
they also had to buy back on our Spirit. Granted, it doesn't cost that much, but it is still an additional blow to Execration.
So Roach getting picked up by the TA and immediately lost, but this TA is almost level 16 already. Well ahead of the Dire counterparts. And again, we're in a situation where Tide is awkwardly the most farmed hero on that Dire side. At least Lifesteal is kind of on par, but with Tide that is, not with the TA or the Timbersaw.
So WG do start to creep up mid as new items pile in. Now Shiva's Guard picked up. And to go with that, we do have a Yasha on Nana's TA. So WG getting their farm here. 4 staff soon to come on Afu. And they will begin their siege, even without the Aegis they want to go, but RR has the Blink Infest Ravage. Gotta be careful not to get caught here. Execration threatening to take a fight.
Yeah, a Blink Ravage can quickly blow up, I mean, possibly even a TA, so...
Yeah, I think Timbersaw the only one that lived through that. The TA, maybe they require the 3rd hero, like a Magnetized follow-up, but then they can kill her.
The WG will slow it down. They've got the farming advantage for the most part. They can be very efficient. They've got the TA in the top lane, they're stacking their Ancients, they've got heroes farming back around mid, but Tide says, if we've infested the lifesteal, we may as well go and find something with this.
Zaki lobbing out the stun with the rest of the team. Park behind him, they're going to try to slow this thing down with the Chakram. Lane into the creep wave. We'll remove it. Do WG Unity take a head-on fight here? They seem hesitant to do so as RR jumps in. He will isolate Ajit and mid Timber Chain, which I don't think was going to hit the trees anyway. He gets controlled. He will get brought down. Finds himself all of a sudden at 6 Bloodstone charges. The tower also taken. Nice decisive pick-off there by Execration. So they got to be careful now. A Blink X onto Abed. They're going to move on the lifesteal here. Static Storm available. They deploy it. And moving forward with the TA trying to bring him down. Abed though might go on with toggle. It's not going to happen under the storm. The Crush comes through onto RR. Looking for the Tide Hunter follow-up kill. They get a bash on Chemo too. So they're going to find at least 3 here. It looks like RR on the run. One more Melt Strike should be enough to do the trick. And with the Thunder Strike, he crackens it off, but it's too late. He'll still drop. And Chemo dead as well. To make it 3 for 1 in the end. It looked like a good pick there, but it's a Bloodstone Timbersaw. Almost instantly respawns, and they still come out on the wrong side of the numbers, guys.
Yeah, that respawn timer reduction is a big part of that fight, as well as just the TA being a scary farm that she is. She rocks up, and with the setup from the kinetic field, everyone's just locked in place and can't retreat. Lifesteal is just trapped and silenced, and it's easy pickings for Nana. Now almost has a completed BKB.
And they know the Ravage is down for almost a full minute, so I imagine we either see some chip damage mid lane or they go bottom for the last tier 2.
Yeah, this is really nice for the TA. Looks like the swing towards bottom will be there as the creep wave arrives, so no Ravage means, yeah, as you said, very unlikely chance to easily defend this one.
This becomes a concern for Execration Gods. They now have to deal with a BKB on Nana. Can they deal with this TA? Do you think they have the tools?
With more farm they do, with like a Lifestealer with items. Medusa so-so. Earth Spirit Magnetize going to be probably needed as well, but now with BKB, I think with the BKB they may actually not have the tools to deal with her until Lifestealer
like gets a basher. I mean, ultra late game I think they do with the Stone Gaze, the swap, but yeah, at this stage I'm with you. I'm not sure they can handle her, and an interesting and very effective, could be a devastating time for smoke from Execration. Getting caught out here, potentially the Hex starts on Nando. They do not have a Ravage in 15 seconds, and that's going to be far too long to wait. Nando caught out, so too is Tim. They're going to lose both it seems. The Stone Gaze coming through though, and when drops low, they finish him off. A 2 for 2 thus far. Tide Hunter ult cooling down. He still has the gem as well. They can chase the TA down if she sticks around too long. The Chakram comes out. He looks for a reinitiation, but it's a dangerous time to go. Nana caught by the Ravage, mauled by the Lifestealer. Way overestimating his damage output here, it seems, and may end up falling. 4 staff, not enough. He will drop. And now they turn on to Ajit for the Ghost Scepter. Keeps him in fighting shape for the time being. He's the last man standing. A 4 for 2 exchange thus far as Execration strike right back and move forward in this game now. An Infest Bomb, Gush, Chakram, not enough, a very underwhelming chain, and Ajit forced to commit suicide again, a full 5-man wipe. Execration running Warriors Gaming over.
Just a roller coaster of a game, and Lion unable to get all his spells off there. They blink in on the Medusa, but Medusa just not the ideal target to find because of how tanky she was. And your Lion's blinked in as in you really want your Slider to initiate, because even if he goes on the Medusa and you're unable to kill Medusa, he's tankier and he can find a new target. Once Lion commits into the fight with blink, there's no escape. You don't have the mobility of a Slider to kind of disengage and then find someone new to go on. So losing the Lion early, not getting the Finger of Death off, and Execration turn the fight around and make a really nice play to kill the Templar Assassin.
I mean, what are they doing wrong here? We discussed that this is a really good Timbersaw game, but it doesn't feel like Oddjet's having that impact.
It's just lacking that perhaps extra item or two, and also just being caught out of position in a few of these fights. So I think WG Unity just need to recognize they're not quite as strong as perhaps they feel they are. I imagine the TA after those last few fights was just making the call to the team like, oh, I'm invincible, I just got this BKB, they can't touch me, and I'm like 2-3 levels higher than anyone else in the game, so we can take any fight. Yeah, T is level 18, the closest Dire heroes are all level 15. Like, on paper, this TA should just be able to solo carry any of these fights, but the control is available if you can catch TA out of BKB with Magic Missile, Ravage, Boulder Smash.
As the game goes later, we find ourselves around a 6k gold lead for Warriors Gaming, around a 5k experience lead. Do you strongly favor either team late game? Or do you think it's more of just an execution-based matchup?
I think it's execution-based still. Perhaps it becomes slightly better for Execration. I mean, the late game Medusa with Tidehunter is just scary as hell in late game fights. We've got the Venge swap as well. Lifesteal is not the best scaling late game carry, but I think all in all, if you get to that late game on equal farm, Execration have a slight edge.
Warriors Gaming working on the tower here, top lane. Did hear the glimpse though, they sent one away. So it will be a power play with RR unable to rejoin this tower defense for quite some time. That means Nana could bully, could be aggressive. They're trying to change the Nando down, they commit a static storm. That leaves Teemo inside the Thunderdome, but nobody actually wants to go on it. WG Unity on the back of one glimpse get a free tier 3. It was denied by Nando, but still the tower drops, and they will get out.
They can just go back to farming now. They want to kind of play their own tempo. They also have to recognize they've got two heroes doing very well, but your Slider is not really keeping up right now, so they may look to try and dedicate some more farm towards Wen. But
anything in particular you think he needs, just a BKB, or what are you going for if you're the Slardar?
The BKB is the big item to have against Tide. Vlad's is always going to be really good, and with the two supports unlikely to buy a Vlad's, you may consider that, but I think the BKB first and then go back to the Vlad's. Vlad's is actually in some ways more late game oriented item.
Oh, this could be big. They might find TA. They might find two Warriors Gaming cores alone in the pit. And this time, they've got a lot more firepower here. The wave of terror starts up. They're going to roll into Hafu. The Ravage coming through as well. Connects on Wen. They instantly bring down two. Nana forced the BKB and Execration with a big takedown around the pit. Might be able to snipe a Roche as well. No Slardar buyback. Yes, it is available on Disruptor, but I'm not sure if they can take the fight anyway, gods. They go for the swap. Zaki getting caught out there by Teemo. Third death. Warriors Gaming really crumbling here down the stretch.
They're just making these cocky plays as if like Lions is coming there. Like they could, in theory, WG can contest Roche 3v5 with the right execution. If they hit like a multiple hero Impale, Chakram, and have TA blink in and blow up a hero or two immediately, it quickly turns that 3v5 into a 3v3. But they approach that 3v5 by just walking blindly through their jungle, where Execration just have a ward that scouts out the entire movement, and Lion is just like a free pick off there for Execration. You can't make that aggressive move towards the Roche pit.
It worked earlier, but they were much farther ahead, and they knew the Ravage was on cooldown, if I recall correctly. So it's a very different state of the game now, and they're doing it just a straight-in waltz towards the pit. We're not really seeing the whole team there, not committing smokes. Like you said, very cocky.
Right. Probably will be reassessing things now with the last few fights not going well for them. Lifestealer having acquired himself an Aegis as well.
We'll see where things develop. 30 minutes in, Warriors Gaming struggling to cement an advantage against Execration, who just narrowly fell short in the tiebreakers along with Fnatic. Would be heartbreaking to get knocked out here. One game away from a guaranteed trip to the International. Or one series away, I should say. But they're hanging on, guys. They're showing some resilience down the stretch. So we see Nando now completing Knife Scotty to go with the Manta style. Tim still desperately poor, not really much to talk about there. Venge working towards her Aether Lens. And brief hiccup here in the game, but fortunately, no action to be missed.
And the one big thing for me with Execration, their games yesterday when they took out WarriorsGaming, was that even when they had slow starts, they were really good at making these good late game calls. Like Chemo as a captain and as a kind of big veteran player just kind of understands and sees the game in a way where he can clutch out games even when you're kind of playing from behind in some ways. And they've kind of already been in that position where they've swung the game much more in their favor, and they're a team who to me seems more composed in the late game. WG, if anything, kind of fell apart in the late game against Fnatic. So in the late game scenario where the teams have maybe slightly even drops, and I'd even give a slight edge to Execration, I think mentality-wise, Execration just have a better approach.
Warriors Gaming did look pretty good in their first playoff match, but this game we've seen some cause for concern. Now moving now up the ramp, he walks right into RR, he's off on his own. We've seen a lot of these moments, doesn't have to get off the BKB, just panic melts and gets destroyed by a Ravage, no hesitation whatsoever. They're choking a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, kind of panicky play, and TA giving up a free kill. Yeah, it's a Ravage, but I don't think you really consider that a trade.
I mean, sure, it was point blank, but you know, he had time. He definitely could have BKB'd there. He melted instead, and that's all she wrote.
Perhaps a small 2-minute window with Aegis still. They could press on, although they'd be pressing on without Ravage. But 40 seconds, no TA. That should be a tier 2 tower. You trade that Ravage for a TA any day of the week.
And if you get a tower as well, then it is a clear win for Execration. But the Assault Turret soon to come here on Abed.
The big scare is if there's a buyback and TA buys back and you have no Ravage and you're forced to fight. Glimpse can force you to fight. And life's still a nice interest to escape with the TPing Earth Spirit.
They are gonna boulder roll forward, chasing after Wen. Won't end up finding him. Zero teaches to the jungle, but Execration is starting to farm more of the map. We see the Medusa working on the H's, a couple of heroes farming the bottom lane, Tidehunter rotating towards top. They're very confident in spreading out here, whereas there was a period where we mostly saw them 5-manning, but WG Unity, they've hemorrhaged what lead they had, and now we find ourselves in a relatively even game. Medusa on top when it comes to net worth. Timber still sitting below the number of Bloodstone charges he began the game with.
Okay.
Has not had the snowball.
Every now and then he'll pick a few up, but then a few minutes after that he's forced to suicide or gets caught out again, so not being the Timber performance of a lifetime for him by any means. As Medusa gets scarier and scarier, less that this hero is going to help against the Timbersaw, but it becomes a very hard to kill hero. The TA, the Slider, you've got the minus armor, but unless you have like a 3 heroes versus 1 Medusa scenario, Medusa should be able to hold her ground and do just fine in a team fight.
So Execration grouping up on the bottom side of the map, and now a butterfly out for Nando. He is absolutely gigantic at this point. And such a big item to have when you're relying on amplified damage, on the meld, on the auto attacks from TA, who is already kind of committed towards the Daedalus gods. She's going to have to get rid of a big item if she wants to rush an MKB. And if you can, very big butterfly pickup.
Yeah, I wonder if you consider the MKB now, having seen that.
I mean, at that point, what, you're dropping a Yasha or a Crystal? That's a lot of gold down the drain. Or maybe the Blink Dagger, I guess.
Definitely not the optimal way to have to be itemizing, and she'll buy the completed Daedalus first, so. And immediately actually smoke up, so they want to take the fight to Execration in somewhat risky fashion, I would say.
Yeah, they're fighting into Stone Gaze, into the Ravage. Aegis is gone now, so there's a window here. And WG Unity creep forward, but reluctant to go in. They have eyes right now on Nando, and they're going to engage out of smoke. Trap coming through. They commit directly onto Aura. They get the static storm up, but a great swap out by Chemo. Lost the Vengeance Life and ensures they'll have the team fight here for round number 2. And actually glimpse Aura back towards the team. Perfect for him, he says, as he just leaps short forward with the hop. And we'll get the kill. That's 2 down. A Bloodstone suicide on one of them. But Execration just gifted an easy team fight.
Yeah, they're finding the Ravages that matter, and meanwhile WG Unity aren't finding their team fight at all. We're not seeing any crushes into, or any, glimpses into crushes, no Timbersaw follow-up damage, and
they can't rely on Static Storm because of that swap.
The swap saves have been probably the key thing this game. Anytime WG Unity thinks they have a pick off on a key hero, the swap save is there, and suddenly Execration have claimed a mid-melee racks with ease.
And they show no signs of backing down here, at least for now. The range racks, one hit from dying. They'll leave Cardi to deal with it. Down to 20 HP. Oh, the Duso usually gets to 10. It'll live, but you know that thing's going down soon enough. So effectively a full lane of racks here. And Execration just keep on winning the fights. They just seem to be more polished and better at outlasting WG Unity. And after that one, they'll have finally, for the first time since the very beginning of the game, we'll have an official gold lead.
And part of the problem is that WG Uni, it's very single target focused with the TA, and Timbersaw is somewhat AoE damage, but it's still like whichever hero gets caught by like the Lion Impale or Disruptive Glimpse is the hero even goes down. But Venge Swap as a saving tool is amazing against single target first damage, so very influential hero so far in this game.
And the question is, like, how do you stop that? How do you find the Venge with an Aether Lens level 2 swap and no hero that seems particularly adept at catching her out? They don't have that Bat Rider or, you know, Storm Spirit who can just zip past enemy lines and get to her.
There's no easy answer as far as catching and isolating the Venge, and as far as WG Uni concerned, they just have to perhaps pull these heroes even further away, or try and, again, see what we're talking about. What we saw Fnatic do to them last game was play the split push game, so that's something WG Uni could consider, but Timbersaw TA, not terrible, but also not great at split pushing.
Tower bottom will drop. Medusa getting the last hit there, and we do see WG Unity moving on to high ground. They have the Deso and the Daedalus completed. They go to work, but Nana getting caught out here. BKB committed, Ravage pulling down anyway. They didn't have it. They're gonna get it right at the perfect time with TA isolated in a lot of danger. Nana likely to go down here. He wants to take out mid with him, but the Ravage comes through right as one flanks and catches them both out. And now they move forward. A great two-hero boulder smash from Tim, catching the backliners, running down the Timbersaw. This is going from bad to worse for WG Unity, who are going to make a very disorganized retreat. Can Ajit even survive? The Lion able to escape, but it doesn't look like Timbersaw is getting out of it, at least not easily. And one more chain, but the chase continues. Again, the boulder smash is connecting. Tim's is heating up after an awful laning stage. It truly has become a team effort from Execration, and it just doesn't seem like WG Unity have the firepower to fight and get kills while the BKBs are active.
Yeah, and having a Shivers and Guardian Greaves on RR makes everyone a whole lot tankier, and he's being very patient with the Ravages, finding the right timing towards the end of these team fights. And post BKB, the TA is getting caught in Ravage multiple fights in a row, and that BKB getting shorter and shorter becomes a legitimate concern for WG Unity's ability to scale.
I'm just starting to wonder if there's even going to be a point this game where TA can burst somebody. It doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. But I don't know what else you do. If you send the Timbersaw in first, we've seen they can burst him. So it's not like he can just frontline. And Slardar struggling to find multiple hero crushes in these engagements.
Yeah, for TA you just need to keep maintaining your farm, but like you say, getting the getting the kills is not going to be. There are no easy kills. Spirit perhaps one of the easier-ish ones, but there's a Glimmer Cape, there's a Blink Out.
And just to be extra safe here, more magic immunity now. Dusa grabbing a BKB. So now you have 2 magic immune carries. You have a Venge Swap. You have a super tanky Tide. And yeah, maybe you can get the Earth Spirit, but he's not even really that important of a hero for their game plan, gods. At this point, it's just a bonus.
Yeah,
it's looking really hard at this point for WG Unity to take fights.
Oh, absolutely. And the BKB means it's even more geared towards trying to force those fights or force a high ground push. Theoretically, with an Aegis and BKB or Medusa, Execration will be ready to go and attempt a breach.
TA has the DD rune. With this could be the window. Do they consider a smoke? They just chill for now. But the couriers coming in, and now they engage. Unfortunately, Execration are pushing down this bottom lane, and they're going to get there first with a Rax advantage. Radiant perhaps at least looking to get a range for Rax to TP home, but Nando's already knocking at the front door. Anybody home? The Medusa asks, She hears nothing, so she starts to bang on the front door. Tier 3 dropping relatively rapidly. Radiant with the D rune, going for the bit of a base trade here. There is a glimpse back available, but the smoke will break momentarily. It's a slow go from the Dire side. They don't kill buildings particularly quickly, and now heroes are starting to come home. The Slardar staying there to cancel TPs. RR with the Gust to start things off, and now they've caught one. Nana does get isolated control, killed off. Life's still able to rage, just ignoring the Disruptor's ability to glimpse somebody back. They don't manage to glimpse anyone back. They lose the TA, they lose the Light as well, and now they're fighting in the Radiant base. WG Unity getting run over, and Nana, he can't do anything during this BKB. Courtesy of the Stone Gaze, there's a 2-hero crush, kinetic field deployed. Lion stood over the top, but Nano shrugs it off. Can they kill this Juicer? It sure doesn't feel that way, and now Abed rejoins the fight. Boots of travels back in. Nana nearly falling. The Mystic Snake bouncing through. Can they kill him off? He blinks away, barely surviving. Would have been a dieback had he dropped there. A gem litters the ground. Execration will let it go. They've gotten their second lane of racks. They've only lost the melee for it, and they close in on the mega creeps.
Losing the racks there, the big...
It was actually a triple buyback, as Slardar and Lion both bought back. Slardar dying back after that. So a massive gold swing. All of a sudden, this is nearly a 20k gold game, Guts.
That is tough stuff to answer for WG Union. This is before the money from the racks, the push we just saw even comes into play. Medusa is sitting on 7k net worth.
What do you buy? She feels invulnerable right now.
It feels like you could almost justify a Rapier. Problem is you don't have that much room for Rapier and Aegis, so...
I guess Boots of Travel for now would be the safe pickup.
There's a Moonshard purchase, so gets that bit of extra attack speed, and with the cheese is a really nice item to have because it's HP and mana.
How much effective HP is the cheese? So you get 1,000 mana, that's 2,500 damage blocked effectively. Yep. It's basically a 5,000 effective HP heal. Okay. Yeah. This Dusa is going to be extremely hard to kill.
Oh yeah. Being able to try and burst her, and that's, you've got to burst Medusa incredibly fast.
Burst and Dusa at this point just do not belong in the same sentence. You have to, but it is not happening.
And even if you try and, anyone you try and burst is going to get swap saved. That's the thing. WG Unity's lineup is built around burst damage of single targets, and we're entering this stage of the game where it's much more team fight based. Tide doesn't even have a refresher. If you can somehow get one up, you're in even more deep doo-doo. But
I mean, I feel like they really did have their window. When the sloppy death train began and left the station, they were able to burst heroes, but it was after 3 or 4 really poor pickoffs in a row, a freely given away Roshan, that WG Unity forfeited their gold advantage. If they were an item ahead, they could easily be killing this Dusa right now. But now they find themselves in the hole, gods. They're gonna have to find a way out.
Yeah, Dusa says no thanks to that, and we'll just push down this top lane. The smoke from WG could be their last attempt to stop this Execration push.
Looking to be the second Filipino hope to make it to TI, and they do it. It's a big fight breaking out. Zaki in the middle of it, lying down off the bat, just gets used a single spell. Now, gonna be next. Fall down during BKB, from bad to worse, and it's the GG. WG Unity got spanked as this game went late. It looked so good early, but that advantage that felt large at the time is but a blip on the radar as the Execration Wrecking Crew marches to a Game 1 win, and now finds themselves one game away from a date with Fnatic in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, they just kind of came online late game, and you have these more team fight centric lineups. I talked about how Execration are really good at executing in the late game, and they had the lineup to do it with. So once they survived the early to mid game. It wasn't a very convincing survival since they were down 10 to 12k gold, but they had the items, at least enough items to fight around the lifesteal of Medusa. And they found the pickoffs, they found the good initiations. Timbersaw was nowhere near as effective as I thought the hero would be this game, and it was a well-played game by Execration.
Well, with that, WG Unity, they'll have to find answers. Gods, heading into game number 2, if you could just change one big thing for WG, you're the captain right now, let's pretend. What would you say to the team?
I think less playstyle wise, and it's more mentality wise, where you just need to try pumping up, fire them up. As much as you don't want to stress this fact, but be like, this is it. This is our last game to show people. This is our last hope at TI. Yeah, that puts more pressure on them. But I think you just have to get it in your head, like let's go out with a bang, let's play our best Dota, because right now it just feels like a mental block more than anything for a WG.
All right, let's see if they get that pep talk. They sure as hell feel like they need it after game one. Execration, 1 game away from taking the series. You're watching the TI6 qualifiers. We'll be right back.